In procedure activation, we have seen what is a procedure, types of procedure and function, then parameters, actual and formal parameters, parameter passing methods, call by value, call by reference, and yesterday we have seen call by value result, which is a combination of call by value and call by reference. Then we started with activation records. So activation record is nothing but memory which is allocated when the process is called by the program, and for that procedure we need some record to be maintained, and that record is stored on the stack. So information needed by single execution of a procedure is managed using activation record or a frame. It is also called frame. In some books you may get this word frame. What are the contents of activation record? It contains local variable, memory allocated for local variable and its values, actual parameters, memory is allocated for actual parameters and values of actual parameters, written address after execution of this procedure, where we have to return back, that is return address, and return value, which value you have to return by that particular function, that is return value, pointer to caller's activation record, and register saved for caller. So we'll see activation records in detail. Then at the time of activation is declaration is bound to a location. So when activation means procedure is called, memory gets allocated, and then actual addresses, each variable will get actual addresses. So associated with each activation of a procedure is storage for variable declared in that procedure. We have seen through Python tutor or visualizer yesterday that whenever we call the procedure, memory is allocated to all those variables in that procedure, and when you return from that procedure or function, memory gets deallocated, or the activation record is popped from the stack. The storage associated with activation, so for that particular procedure, the memory which is allocated, it is called activation record. And there are two types of timings we have seen. Lexically scoped languages have compile time, activation time, and run time. We have seen activation trees. How to read this tree? This is a calling method or caller. P is a caller. P calls Q and P calls R. So if Q is called first, so Q will execute. Will be a left child and R will be a right child. If there is one more method called by P, say yes, so that will be another child at rightmost node. So to read it from left to right. We have seen the example of quick sort. So this sort method had called read method. After read, control will be transferred to sort. Then it will call quick sort. Quick sort high and low, and partition will be. It will find out middle element. Say for example here 4, and it will convert that list into 2 different lists and call quick sort twice. It's a recursive algorithm. So partition function will return middle element from whatever the high and low values, x value, and low to x minus 1 will be one part, and x plus 1 to high will be another part. For example, here suppose 4 is my x. So 1 to 3 and 5 to 9. 4 is center element. So we will sort the list at lower end 1 to 3 and 5 to 9, and it will continue. So this is how you can read activation tree. Elements of activation record. So the data which is needed for activation of procedure is collected in the record, which is called activation record or frame, that we have seen. The record contains storage for local variables, formal parameters, and whatever the additional information needed for activation. If the expression is too large, system needs temporary variables, internal variables, to store this intermediate result or values. So memory is allocated for those temporary variables also within that activation. Each activation of a recursive procedure needs distinct storage for its formal parameters. Yesterday we have seen the example of factorial. So every time whenever the factorial is called for x minus 1, new memory is allocated for variable x. Similarly, each activation needs distinct storage for local variables. Let's see how stack is allocated and deallocated with the help of activation records. So in Pascal or C++, Java, activation records are held in a stack. And note that stack is primary memory. Storage can be reused efficiently. For example, if P calls Q, memory is allocated for P initially. Whenever you start executing a code, suppose P is a program or main function, memory is allocated for P. Then P is calling function Q, so memory is allocated for Q. Q calls R, memory is allocated for R. Now, when you return from method R, that memory which was allocated for R will be deallocated, and control will return back to Q. Now Q will execute, and then after completion of execution of method Q or function Q, memory is deallocated and control will return back to P. Same time, when program executed thoroughly, control will return back to the system. So memory is allocated and deallocated as per the procedure activation and deactivation. This code is visible. So here, this is a Pascal program. Let me show you how to read this. Pascal allows nested procedures. Pascal is structured programming language. It allows nesting. Means you can write a method in a method. You can write a function body inside another function body. So this is a main program main. In program main, there is a procedure sub1. Body of procedure sub1 is in main program. And the body of sub2 and sub3 is in procedure sub1. And how this program will execute? Main program will start executing from begin and end. So this is suppose begin, you are calling sub1. So from main, you are calling sub1. So body of sub1, you are calling sub3 and sub2. And from sub2, you are calling sub2 recursively. And sub3, there is the body of sub3. Can you show activation records for this main sub1, sub2, sub3? Memory is allocated for which method? First, main, sub1, sub2 or sub3?
Main.
Yes. So first, memory is allocated for main. Then, main is calling method sub1. Main is calling method sub1. Memory will be allocated for sub1 with parameters 3, 4. Sorry, with parameters 3, 4. Value of A is 3, value of B is 4. Now method sub1 is calling method sub3. Memory will be allocated for sub3. Can you see this? Call sub1 3, 4. So main is calling method sub1 with parameters 3, 4. Now sub1 is calling method sub3. But this is the body of sub3. Sub3 is not calling any method, so control will return back, and memory allocated for sub3 will be deallocated or deleted. Now, when memory allocated for sub3 is deleted, control will return back to sub1, and it will call sub2 with parameter A. Value of A is 3. So it will call sub2 with parameter 3. Now what sub2 will do? Sub2 will increment y it was y plus is equal to 1, and then it will call sub2 for c minus 1. C minus 1 sub2 with, then it will call sub2 with 1. And then it will return. So this will be the status of activation record for this method. Sub main, sub1, sub3. Sub3 will return back to sub1, then sub2, sub2, sub1. Sorry, sub2. Any queries about this? Next slide, I'm showing you the animation. Now look at how memory is allocated for local variables and formal parameters. So stack is empty currently. It is pointing to the current program counter. This is our main code, which is loaded into a static memory. This is your complete code. Main is calling sub1 with 3,4. Then S1 is return address. Then sub1 body. Sub1 has variable y initialized to 1. Sub1 is calling sub3. These are just labels. Internally, compiler will give such labels when you come back where your next line. And sub2 with parameter a. This is the body of sub2. Y is equal to y plus 1, call sub2, c minus 1 is 4, and this is sub3. Suppose this is your complete program or code. Now, program counter, PC's program counter will point to the current executing statement. So currently main is getting executed. So activation record for main is created on the stack. This is activation record for main. It is for sub1. From main you called sub1. So this is activation record for sub1. Now sub1 has two parameters, a and b. So memory is allocated for a and b, and value is 3,4. So here can you see 3 and 4? Now what is RA, DP and SP? RA is return address. So for sub1, activation record of sub1, return address is S1. After this execution of this method sub1, you have to return at the next line. So S1 is return address. Now sub1, this method is written in main. The body of this method resides in main. So main is parent. So it is called static pointer. SP, static pointer is main. And sub1, this is called from main. Who is calling sub1? Again, I'm opening the camera. You can see the board. There are two things. One is we have main. Main has sub1. This is sub2 and sub3. So sub1 resides, the code of sub1 is in main. Code of sub2 is in sub1. Code of sub3 is in sub1. So parent of sub1 is main. And what is the calling sequence? Main calls sub1. Sub1 is calling sub3 and sub2. And sub2 is calling sub1. Sorry, sub2. So this is a calling sequence, function call sequence. And this is lexical sequence where that function resides. So a static pointer, SP, static pointer points to this actual code, and dynamic pointer, DP, or it is called dynamic link. Dynamic pointer points to calling sequence. Calling sequence decides at runtime, and static pointer decides at compile time. So this case, if you look at this, this is activation record for sub1. First of all, integer y is 1. It is a local variable, so memory is allocated for local variable and its value is 1. Memory is allocated for parameters a and b, its value is 3 and 4. Return address is where you, after execution of this process, control should return back to S1. DP is dynamic pointer, means sub1 is called from main. So dynamic pointer for sub1 is main. It is not actually written main. Actual address of main, activation record of main will be stored here, but this is just for your information how activation, what the information is stored in activation record. Static pointer, it is where that method is written. What is the scope of that method? The scope of sub1 is main. So that's why static pointer is main. This is clear for sub1. Activation record for sub1 is clear. Any queries about this? Now can you explain me what will be the activation record for sub1 is calling sub3. So sub1 will call sub3. So this is the activation record for sub3. Explain me why static pointer is sub1 and dynamic pointer is sub1. SP and DP. Why it is sub1 and sub1? Sub3 method sub3 is written where? Who is parent of sub3? Sub1. So static pointer is sub1. And who is called sub3? Sub3 is called from sub1. So dynamic pointer is also sub1. Okay. Now what will happen to this when you return from sub3? Activation record for sub3 will get deleted or popped out, and then activation record for sub2 will be created. So this is activation record for sub2. Value of A is 3. So here C3. So here we are using variable 3. Return address is S3. DP is sub1, SP is sub1, because sub2, method sub2 is written in lexical scope of sub1 and it is called from sub1. So dynamic pointer is sub1, static pointer is sub1. Now what is you are here, you are executing sub2. Sub2 will increment y and call sub2 C minus 1. It will call sub2 C minus 1. Sub2 is calling sub2. So another record for sub2 will be created. It will not delete previous record of sub2 because it's a recursion. In first, sub2 is not executed yet. Execution is not complete. So its activation record is maintained in the stack. So C is 3, return address is 3, sub1, sub1. Now can you explain me why it is sub2 and why it is sub1? Can you see activation record for sub2 with C minus 1, C was 3, now C minus 1 is 2, value of C is 3, return address is S4, but can you explain me why DP is sub2 and SP is sub1? Anyone? What is meaning of DP and SP? Samiksha? Roll number 61. Are you getting it or not? See here, this is activation record for sub2. Sub2 is called from sub2 again. So static pointer will remain same because sub2 is written in sub1. That is not going to change. Once your program is written, it is loaded on a compiler. Its location is fixed. The scope of lexical scope or compile time scope is fixed. Sub2 method is written in sub1. Body of sub2 is written in sub1. So that is fixed. Scope of sub2 is in sub1. So static pointer for sub2, static pointer for sub2 is sub1. But dynamic pointer here it is sub1, here it is sub2 because now we are calling sub2 from sub2. So dynamic pointer depends upon the calling sequence. Which method is calling current method, that is your dynamic pointer. And where your method is actually written is your static pointer. Is it clear now? Static and dynamic pointers? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So remember this example. This is sub2 dynamic pointer because sub2 is calling sub2. Here, can you see here? Sub2 is calling sub2. So for another call, again, new activation record for sub2 is created, and this will continue till program executes. So now, static pointer and dynamic pointer had different names in different books. Static pointer is called static link, and dynamic pointer is called dynamic link. Static pointer has another name which is called access link. So it has two different names: static link or access link. And dynamic pointer had also two names: dynamic link and control link. Dynamic link and control link. So this part is visible, left hand side. This part is visible. So in short, suppose I want to show you activation record of this particular example. So this is main function. Main is calling sub1. Sub1 is calling sub3. Then main is sub2 and sub2 is calling sub2. So now I have to show static link and dynamic link. So I am showing static link by this color and dynamic link by blue color. So static link from left hand side, sub1 is written in main. So this is my static link. Sub1, method sub1 is written in main. So this is static link for sub1 is main. Static link for sub2 is sub1. Static link for sub2 is sub1 because sub2 is written in sub1. Static link for sub3 is also sub1, but here sub3 is deleted from the stack. Even for sub2, it is sub1. Static link for sub2 is sub1. And dynamic link, sub1 is called from main, so this is dynamic link. Sub2 is called from sub1, so this is dynamic link. Sub2 is called from sub2, so this is dynamic link. So there is a difference. So dynamic link will point to the caller and static link point to the parent where that code resides. Again, if you have another call for sub2, its static link is still sub1 because method is written in sub1, but dynamic link is calling method sub1. I hope it is clear now. So, dynamic link and static link. So what is dynamic link? Pointer to caller's activation, old stack pointer. Dynamic link is the parent who is calling that particular method. And static link, which is called access link, which points to the enclosing scope, nested scope. So if callee is directly enclosed by caller, that is if the in this case sub1 is written in main and it is called from main. So callee is enclosed in a caller. So static link is also caller's activation record. If callee has same, what is caller and callee? Caller means main function and callee is the method which we have called from main. For example, main here is caller and sub1 is callee. If sub1 is caller, then sub2 is callee. If callee has same enclosing scope as caller, static link is static link of caller's activation. If callee is in a scope, that is k levels up, that encloses other callers, encloses caller, need to traverse k static links from the caller and use that static link. So if it is not enclosed in that thing, so if we'll talk about static and dynamic scope at the end of this session, but just note that static points to the where the code is resides, and dynamic points to the who has called that particular code. Nesting depth is used to denote where the procedure name is declared, where that procedure is written. So compiler for imperative language often use stack to organize storage for local variables. What is lifetime of a variable that we have seen in the previous topic? Till the time that variable is bounded to its memory location is called lifetime. So storage of a variable declared within a procedure is local to the procedure activation. Once you return from that procedure, memory allocated for that variable is discarded. So lifetime will terminate. Storage for local of an activation is allocated when the activation is set up and deallocated when activation ends. We have seen how memory is allocated, how stack is allocated for procedures, calls, and when you return from that procedure, it gets deallocated. Variables in C is either local or procedure, local to a procedure or global to all procedures. So that you know, we can have local scope and global scope. And what is a stack frame? Activation records are held on a stack. They are sometimes called stack frames. Whatever we have seen in the previous slide, this is a stack frame for particular record. Each of these colors are different stack frames. In C language, when procedure is called, what compiler does? C uses call by value. If we are not explicitly using pointers, by default C is using call by value. We have seen call by value and call by reference in the previous session. So the caller evaluates actual parameters for the call and place their values in the activation record for calling, like here. So these are called by value. So value of A and B is 3 and 4 because in our program we assigned, if you have seen here, we called it A and B, and the method A and B, these are formal parameters, but we call this method with actual parameters 3, 4. So value of A is now 3 and B is 4. So this is evaluated by a compiler and placed on the activation record. So these values are placed in the activation record by compiler. So compiler evaluates actual parameters for the call and places their values in the activation record for calling. Information needed to restart execution of the caller is saved. Now, one caller has to be paused, and then execution of callee has to be started. Main is a caller and sub1 is callee. So main is not finished yet. Main is in between its execution, and you called sub1. So control it's the state of main is saved, and control will transfer to sub1. Sub1 will complete the execution. Control will return back to main. Then it will pop up, take whatever the resume its execution and continue with the execution. So that information which is required to start execution of caller need to be saved. Callee allocates space for local variables that we have seen here. Local variable was y in sub1, so memory is allocated for y. Then body of callee is executed and control returns to the caller. So this is the elements of activation record: control link, access link, saved state of caller, parameters, local parameters, and formal parameters, and local variables. So it is control link or dynamic link. It points to the activation. Means who called that. record of runtime caller. And what is access link or static link? It used to implement lexically scoped languages. Note that this is there only in Pascal. C doesn't allow us to write a function inside a function. So in C language, unless and until you create a static variable or static method, static link is not used. Only dynamic link is used. But static link, it's used by Python, sorry, Pascal. So this is a caller. Caller saves incoming parameters, and this is callee saves save state, local variables, temporary variables, and outgoing parameters. So caller allocates space for function result. The access and control links are saved state information needed to resume execution by a caller. So whenever what happens, we just run the code and we know that functions get executed and we get the result. But what happened at the back end? How what compiler does when a function call is executing a function call from, for example, from main, you have to call sub1. At that time, main is a caller, so it allocates space for function result, access and control links, saved state, information needed to resume execution. So activation record need to be created on the stack for function call. Then it will set the link, control link to callee points to the beginning of caller's frame. Set the access link information. Needed to restart execution of caller is saved. Caller allocates field for all reference parameters, address information. If it is an array, so values of arrays need to be calculated, their locations, records past 5 values, and all other parameters and actual values need to be saved. Control flow to the callee. Then control is transferred. This is all these 5 points are done by a caller, and then it will transfer control to the caller. Then callee allocates the field for the array records which are passed by value. Then callee saves space for local variables, temporary storage partial variables for partial results. Then the body of callee gets executed, and again from callee it may call another process. So this will continue. And when the callee or the function completes or terminates, it returns the control to the caller, and it returns return value in the place where which is saved in the caller's activation record, and the stack allocated for callee is popped out. Pascal has nested procedures. It is a block structured language. As I told you, you can write a function inside a function body inside another function body. So visibility rules is scope of declaration in a procedure, in that procedure and any nested procedure. So that I'll explain you what is meaning of this. So for example, you have a program U, and there are 4 procedures: V, W, A, and V. So V and A, the scope of V and A is in U, W is in V, and V is in A. So how to look towards this function, sorry, program. Sorry. This program U, it has procedure U and A, sorry, V and A. V has procedure W and A has procedure B. So if I declare variable here, if I declare variable B in U, it is accessible in U, V, W, A, and B. So this variable which is declared in program U will be available for V, W, A and B. So variable declared in U is visible in all procedures U, V, W, A and B. You can use P here, you can use P here, W, A and B. If I declare variable Q here in method or procedure V, is it accessible in A or B? Variable which is declared in V. If I declare here P colon integer, so as you can see, variable which is declared in procedure B is not accessible in U, it will not accessible in A or B, it is accessible in W. So W can access variables P, Q and R. B can access variables P and Q. B can access variables P, S and T. A can access variables P and S. And U can access only variable P. Am I clear? Variables which are declared in U are available visible in U, V, W, A and B. Variables are declared in V is visible in V and W. V and W. And variables declared in W are visible only in W. So these are visibility rules for Pascal, as Pascal is nested structured language. It allows procedures resides in another procedure. So even if we didn't declare a variable in W, it can access variables which are declared in program U and V. Is it clear? These three statements are clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Help me to draw such diagram for this particular program. This is a program M. It has procedure P, then procedure Q, then procedure R. This is begin and end of R. This is begin and end of Q. This is begin and end of P, and this is begin and end of main. So help me to draw. So first box will be, this is main. Program main. Main has procedure P. So this is begin and end of main. And main has procedure P. P has variables X, Y, Z and it has body of procedure Q. Variables X, Y, Z and it has body of procedure Q. Q has procedure R. Q has procedure R. Now we'll see calling sequence. So main starts executing from this begin, main calling procedure P. Main calls P. Now function P, this is begin and end of P. P is calling function Q. P is calling function Q. This is begin and end of function Q. Q is calling function R. And R, what R is doing? R is calling function P. So let's see activation records. So main calls procedure P, P calls Q, Q calls R, and R calls P again. So what is a static link for P? We'll just talk about static link. Static is where that method is written. Static link, or what is the another name for static link? Access link. So on right side I am using access links. So what is the access link for method P or procedure P?
M.
M. So P is written in M. Is a static link for Q. Q is written in
C.
P. Static link for R.
Q.
Q. And static link for P.
R.
Static link. It is main. P is written in main. P resides in main. That is a static link. At compile time, you know this. You know your code where you have written method P, method Q, method R. At runtime, this sequence may change. Which function will call another function? How many times that function will get called? So now about dynamic link. Dynamic link depends upon calling sequence. Now P is called from main. So dynamic link for P is N. For Q is called from P. So dynamic link for Q is P. R is called from Q. So dynamic link for R is Q. And P is called from R. So dynamic link for P is R. So this is dynamic link or dynamic pointer or control link. There are different links: dynamic link, control link, or dynamic pointer. This is static link or access link or static pointer. Is it clear now? Static link, dynamic links, and nested procedures.
Yes, ma'am.
Why I am repeating this? Because another next point which deals with static and dynamic scope depends upon this. These arrows,
Ma'am,
yes.
will you repeat it for static?
Static is in Pascal language. You can write a method inside a method. For example, here for this program, M. M has procedure P. Then this procedure P has three variables X, Y, Z, and it has body of procedure Q. Procedure Q has body of procedure R. And main program will start its execution from this, begin and end. So it is calling method P, for procedure P. Procedure P will call, this is begin and end for P. It will call Q, Q will call R, R will call P. So static link points to the parent where that method is written, lexical scope or compile time scope, where that method resides. For example, P resides in M, Q resides in P, R resides in Q. So that is the static scope. And dynamic scope is calling sequence. P is called from main, Q is called from P, R is called from Q, P is called from R. So for up to this, your static and dynamic link is same. But for another call, when you call a P from R, dynamic link is P. Dynamic link of P is to R. Dynamic link means who called P? P is called from R. And where to written control after execution of P, it is R. So this is dynamic link. And what is static link? Where P resides, P function is written in main. And why we need static link? Because for static scope, if variable which is defined in main, main has suppose variable A, and here you are dealing with say in procedure P. After this function Q, if you are calculating A is equal to X plus Y plus Z, so from there it should refer A. A is not defined in this method P. It is defined in method Q. So that's why you should know where that method resides. What is the scope of P? Scope of P is N. So that is denoted by static link.
Yes, ma'am. Got it.
As this is not supported by C language, you may not able to uh, visualize this, how to write a function in a function, but yesterday I had explained you with the blocks. We have seen this example. Not this one. Local and non-local scopes, this one. So here we are writing blocks inside a block, B0, B1, B2, B3, like this. So if variable is declared here, for example, A is equal to 0, and here I am printing it, A and B. In this block B1, I haven't declared A. So which value of A it should take? If it is not declared in B1, where B1 resides in B0. So nested scope, closely nested scope. So after B1 there is B0. So it will refer this value, A is equal to 0 for this print statement. Or in this case, A is not declared here. So B3, in B3 we didn't have a definition for A. How compiler will search? It will search in this block B3. Variable is not declared. So where it will search in B1. Again in B1 A is not declared. Then it will search in B0. So that is a static scope. Or here we are not see. This is not the right example, but just to give understanding about lexical scope, I am explaining you this one. Similarly, when you write a method inside a method, variables which are declared in main are available for P, Q, and R. So if you have not redeclared that variable in P and Q, so variable which is used by R is declared in method N. But that so that you should know where what is the address of N, and that address is stored in static link. Static link is not the name of a method, it is address or location of that particular method. And we need this for finding out the location of variables that we might have used from that particular scope, which is not declared here, which is declared in that particular scope. In activation record of Pascal, as we have seen for C language, same things are there. It stores result or return value. Then access link is static link or static pointer. Control link is dynamic link or dynamic pointer. Saved state of parent means after execution of this procedure, parent from where parent should start its execution. And note that these 5 points or reference parameters, these are stored by caller, who is calling that particular method. This stack is created by a caller. Some part of that activation record is saved by caller, and remaining part is saved by callee. Callee will say if it is array, if it is record, or if it is a pointer, it will find out the values and store those values of formal parameters. Then local variables and some temporary values if needed for intermediate calculations. So sequence is same, what caller does and callee does. You can go through this. Caller saves its state, manage control link and access link, store the information to restart the execution, and then reference parameters, it will calculate and store it, and then it will pass control to the callee. So sequence of procedure call and return in C and Pascal is same. And what callee does? Callee reserves space for local variables, temporary storage, partial result. Then its body will get executed and control will return back to the caller for execution, remaining execution. Recursion we have seen yesterday. For each execution of a procedure body is called activation of a procedure. And what are the recursive procedure? Procedure call itself. So multiple executions of that particular procedure resides in activation record, creates a multiple activation records. Recursive procedure can be activated from within its own procedure body. It can be direct recursion, means P calls P, or here factorial calls factorial, or it can be indirect, like in this case. P calls Q, Q calls R is calling P. So P is not end it. P cannot end unless and until Q returns. Q cannot end unless and until it returns from R. And P is still there, activation of P is still there, and then from R, another activation of P is created. So that is a recursion, but it is indirect recursion. P calls Q, Q calls P. So it is indirect recursion. So we have seen this example of factorial, how it executes step by step. This is the example from C, what we pass. So no need to explain, you can go through this. Value of n is suppose 3, count is 0. Then count is count plus 1, n is equal to 0, return 1, else n into f of n minus 1. So this is just a count to show you how many activations are there. So 0, 1, 2 and 3 activations. Sorry, fourth activation, it will return the result. Count is created static because in each activation the static variable will execute the same value. It will not change. It will not initialize back to 0. We have seen what is the static variable in previous sessions. Static is count. When you call another, it will not say count is equal to 0. It will increment the count by 1 and start counting from that. So count is just to show you how static variable behaves. But here we are concentrating on abstract activation records. So this is how activation records for factorial is created and deallocated after it. About static and dynamic scope, we'll see in the next lecture.